Hello, Legionnaires! Today we are going on a very interesting and different type of journey than we normally have before. We've been to Disneyland, we've been to a comic convention, but today we are going to the orchestra to see Holst Planets performed. If you're not familiar with the planets, you might be familiar with one song in particular, Mars, if you've ever seen the beginning of Gladiator. So if you've ever seen that movie, and probably a bunch of other things, that's just the one that comes to mind. And because I don't have like a cool spacey shirt like that, like a planets and stuff, I'm just wearing like Space Mountain stuff. Pretty good. So anyway, you're gonna come along, you're gonna hear a little bit of this music, it's gonna be great, and yeah, let's go. Hello everyone, we are here at the church, and look at this beautiful day. Look at all those beautiful pine trees right there. And here we are at St. Andrew's Church, just about to go in. We'll show you what it's like on the inside. See, here we are inside the church, and look at this. They have all the planets up here. Got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. But no room for Pluto, not anymore. Sorry, Pluto, you're out. Little kiosks here, little areas where you can see a bunch of information about all the planets. Here's Mercury. Some fascinating facts about Mercury. Look at all this. If you weighed 100 pounds on Earth, you would weigh 38 pounds on Mercury? That sounds like a diet plan I can get behind. Move on down here to Venus. Look at this. Let's see. Oh, 91 pounds on Venus? The diet plan's not as good. Not as good. 38 pounds on Mars, that's not bad. Let's see why. Well, there you go. The more you know. Look at this, one of the most interesting things about Jupiter. The big, giant red spot. It's a gigantic storm. The size of Earth has been raging for hundreds of years. Very fascinating stuff. Saturn, good stuff. I drove a Saturn for a while. Oh no, you weigh 107 pounds on Saturn? Yeah, no thanks. I don't want to. Not my kind of plan there. It's like if I go to Krispy Kreme too many times. How long is 1 year on Saturn? Anybody want to make a guess? 29 Earth years. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Down here to Uranus. Look at this. Okay, alright, so you're losing a little bit of weight here. I like how I'm focusing on that, but it has 27 moons! Oh my gosh, that's insane. How cool is this, though? Look at these. Kind of a little bit of a Saturn vision there. Just a little bit. Very cool. What's the temperature on Uranus? I'm guessing cold. Yep, negative 357 degrees Fahrenheit. Yikes. And here we are with Neptune. Look at that. 15 times larger than Earth. Look who made it. Apparently I found out that Pluto was not discovered by when Holst had written all this, but still Pluto not a planet. We're still going to talk about it. We'll never forget you, Pluto. We love you. Everybody on the second floor of the church is kind of looking around, just checking stuff out. These are the planets I saw before. And then we were down over there, right down there, checking out all that information. Here we are up here. We're going to take a little look in on the church from the second floor here. Actually, the actual, sanctum, as it were. I don't think people will call it that, but yeah, you can see a huge organ in there. You can see all the pews up here. See the orchestra is warming up down there, getting ready. See the big screens. Ah, it's going to be good. Woo! We are walking into the inner sanctum. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Look at this place, it's huge. Alright, we're gonna find a spot to sit. On the menu today, as you can hear, they're warming up in the background. This is Dave. He's gonna be playing a big part apparently.
I don't know, there's electric down there that he's going to talk at, but... Yeah, I guess it's... No, he's going to talk at.
was awesome.
Does that remind you of any movies you've seen? In 1977, a friend and I went to see the brand new movie Star Wars. And I was walking out of the theater. I said to my friend, "Wow, that is the most amazing music I've ever heard. No one has ever composed anything like that before." And my friend said, "Marlene, are you kidding? You haven't heard Holst Planets? You should go get a recording and listen to it." And I kind of liked this guy, so I went and I got a recording. And I listened to it, and sure enough, 65 years before John Williams wrote that incredible score for Star Wars, Gustav Holst had written the amazing score for the planets, writing that would inspire many composers after, not only John Williams, but many others. So we're going to play this entire piece for you today, but in a very unconventional way. As you know, there are two aspects to every planet, the astronomical and the astrological. From Holst's perspective, we will be talking about the astrological perspective, because that's what he was interested in, astrology, when he wrote the piece. But there is obviously the astronomical side of every planet, so we've invited the director of the Minnesota Minnesota Astronomical Society to be here to give you some interesting astronomical facts about the planets. Then we will play each movement in its entirety while projecting NASA images put together by David and his team.
Mars has fascinated mankind since antiquity. About half the size of Earth, Mars' reddish color, even to the naked eye, has earned it the name the Red Planet. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun, about 1.5 times farther than Earth, making its year twice as long as Earth's. Mars has 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos. With the advent of the telescope and more close-up views of Mars, we began to find similarities with Earth. Its day is also about 24 hours. It has a surface features that seem to shift. The surface temperature near the equator is fairly warm during the day. Despite a thin atmosphere composed of mostly carbon dioxide, people were convinced there was life on Mars, maybe even intelligent life. In 1877, the Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli made sketches of his observations of Mars showing lines that looked like water canals. Noted astronomers such as Percival Lowell and Edward Pickering firmly believed there was intelligent life on Mars. Such enthusiasm in the scientific world prompted H.G. Wells to write his famous novel, War of the Worlds, in 1898. In 1938, Orson Welles made a radio adaptation of the book And when it aired on October 30th as a pre-Halloween spoof, it caused public panic on the East Coast as the broadcast was mistaken for an actual invasion of Earth by Martians. As late as the 1960s, we believed there was life on Mars. NASA started sending spacecraft to Mars in the 1970s, and since then we have determined that there is no life on the surface of Mars. With the scientific evidence gathered by numerous spacecraft and the intrepid rovers' Spirit, Opportunity, and Curiosity, we have gathered evidence that liquid water, which is required for life as we know it, was once on the surface of Mars in great quantities. Mars continues to tease us with the prospect of life, which is probably why the nations of Earth have launched over 40 missions to the Red Planet, more than any other solar system object, including our moon.
War. Mars, the bringer of war. Mars was the god of war, and the most prominent of all the military gods that the Romans worshipped. Many think that Mars was named for its red color, the color of blood. Holst wrote this work between 1914 and 1918, while World War I unleashed its terrors. And Holst watched as brutality and death and destruction escalated into unimaginable levels as a British citizen. And he watched as the war erased many populations of people, and these were his people, his friends, his neighbors, his students. He was a teacher at 3 music schools during this time. So he was really, really in the center of this awfulness of war. The image that you see projected, the artist's rendering, shows Mars, the god of war, with a spear and a shield. And Holst brilliantly describes an army approaching with spears and shields clanking. How does he do that? Well, first he asks the timpanist to play with wooden sticks instead of those felt-headed sticks that you often hear the timpani using or see them using. So I've asked Darwin to play the opening of Mars for you with just the regular sticks that you'd normally see and hear. And now he'll play with wooden sticks. And for those of you musicians who want to know what time signature that is, it's 5/4. So what does he do to enhance that idea of spears and shields? Well, he asks all the string players to turn their bows over, and instead of using the horsehair of their bows to pull the bow across the string, he asks them to use the wood of their bow. It's called colenio, just means with wood, to tap on their strings. So it sounds like this. So it really does conjure an image, doesn't it, of an approaching army with shields and spears clanking. Another astrological fact about Mars is that Mars is associated with sports and competition. So throughout this piece, there are these competitions between groups of instruments. Here's one between the trumpets and the tenor trombone. And listen to how they imitate each other and how they vie for the spotlight. And then another technique that Holst uses throughout this entire piece, not just this movement, but in particular at the end of this movement, he takes 2 chords, which individually sound just fine, but when they're put together, they create a great deal of tension. So he uses harmony to create tension. So here's just the C and the G. And the D flat and the A flat. And put together. to describe the tension and the nervousness and the angst of war. So here is Mars, the bringer of war.
orbits the Sun in only 88 days and is one-third the distance from the Sun as Earth. Although visible to the naked eye since antiquity, Mercury always resides in the twilight sky, making it difficult to see. Even after the invention of the telescope, this diminutive planet remained largely a mystery. Telescopes always peer through a large portion of Earth's atmosphere, which distorts the image, making it impossible to see the surface clearly. Using transits, where Mercury would pass directly in front of the Sun, astronomers were able to determine it did not have an atmosphere. In the 1960s, radio telescopes and radar allowed astronomers to gain more information about Mercury. Originally, astronomers thought Mercury was tidally locked to the Sun, a term which means the same side of Mercury always faced the Sun. However, radar measurements determined that Mercury rotated on its axis every 59 days. This information revealed that Mercury rotates on its axis 3 times for every 2 orbits. It wasn't until we sent spacecraft to Mercury that we learned much more about it. Mariner 10 visited Mercury in the mid-1970s, and more recently, the Messenger spacecraft orbited the planet from 2011 to 2015.
Known for speed and quick communication. So in this movement that he subtitles the Winged Messenger, you won't hear long melodies. You're just going to hear little snippets of melodies, sort of like texts or tweets, I suppose. It is so fast, this movement, as you would expect, but it is a very big challenge for any orchestra to play the speed that this piece demands. But there are 2 other really daunting challenges that are also present in this movement. First is half the musicians have 2 flats in their key signature, and half the musicians have 3 sharps in their key signature. So he uses 2 keys right on top of each other all the time. So just to give you an idea of how that sounds, here's a B-flat major scale. And an A major scale. Sounds like middle school band.
Jupiter is the largest of the planets. It is the fifth planet from the Sun and orbits 5 times farther than Earth. However, a Jupiter day is only 10 hours. Jupiter also has a delicate ring system discovered by Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1979. Jupiter is composed almost entirely of hydrogen and helium gas. With a radius of over 10 Earths, Jupiter is so large you could fit over 1,300 Earths inside of it. Telescopes reveal cloud bands royally in different colors and shapes. They form bands around the planet, easily seen through small telescopes. Oval-shaped storms are also visible. A large reddish storm can be seen just below Jupiter's equator. This storm, called the Great Red Spot, has been visible for over 400 years, and 2 Earths could fit inside it. Jupiter has 67 moons orbiting it. The 4 largest, Ganymede, Europa, Io, and Callisto, were first discovered by Galileo Galilei in 1609 and are called the Galilean moons. Along with Jupiter, these moons have been the focus of several spacecraft as they flew by or were placed in orbit around Jupiter.
The divine authority, and is associated with freedom, exploration, merrymaking. And Holst entitles this Jupiter, the bringer of jollity. There are at least 5 jolly themes that are spun gloriously throughout and handed off to every section of the orchestra. And right in the middle there is this hymn that the British adopted as a national hymn with words, "I vow to thee my country." It is a glorious middle section. So here is Jupiter, the bringer of jollity.
This one's for you, Huber.
Itself is about 80% the size of Jupiter. While it is a huge planet capable of holding over 764 Earths, its density is quite low. If you had an ocean large enough, Saturn would float on the water. It too is composed of mostly hydrogen and helium. It has storms and cloud bands, but they are not as prominent as Jupiter's. It does have one unusual storm at its north pole that is hexagonal in shape. Saturn has 62 moons. The largest moon, Titan, has an atmosphere composed of nitrogen and hydrocarbons. The surface is incredibly cold at minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit. It has lakes of liquid methane. Hydrocarbons, like methane, are the building blocks of life. Despite the extremely cold temperatures, scientists haven't ruled out the possibility of life on this moon. Nor have they ruled out the possibility of life on another of Saturn's moons, Enceladus. Like Jupiter's Europa, Enceladus has a vast ocean beneath its surface and geysers of water that have been imaged spewing from its southern polar region by the Cassini spacecraft. This water turns into crystals as they pour into space and have formed a faint ring as Enceladus orbits around Saturn. Cassini, which has been orbiting Saturn for over 10 years, is analyzing the water from Enceladus to see if it contains the building blocks of life. The most stunning feature of Saturn is its amazing ring system. These rings encircle Saturn and are over 70,500 miles wide, yet are less than a mile thick. Easily seen through a small telescope, the rings are composed of dust, ice crystals, and small rocks. There are dozens of intricate rings that are kept in place by Saturn's gravity and small moons within the rings called shepherd moons. Saturn is truly one of the great showpieces of the night sky.
Saturn, the bringer of old age. So the youthful exuberance that we heard in Jupiter is now changed into the inevitable coming of old age. To me, this music is so descriptive of the last years of life. The worry about being alone, the loss of friends, the failing of our earthly bodies, the closing of a familiar chapter, and the wondering about the next one. And so this music is just incredibly descriptive at the beginning of that. There's a very slow-moving bass solo that speaks of despair, really. Defeat, despair. But after a while, there is a chorale that Holst has given to the trombones. Saturn was also associated with agriculture, with he was the founder, the founder of civilizations, a hierarchy, a natural hierarchy, a life cycle, if you will. So, and associated with authority figures. So the trombone chorale sounds like the voice of wisdom to me, sort of a laying out of how it's going to be, and sort of allowing acceptance of what's going to happen. And then the piece goes on, and then in the middle is this calamitous change. It sounds like the London ambulance sirens there. And it's very off-putting. It's tension. So I thought we'd play that for you just so you're ready for it when it comes. So it sounds like chaos to me. Frightening, off-putting, as I said.
Discovered in 1781 by the great astronomer William Herschel. At 20 times the distance from the sun as Earth, this world is very cold, with a surface temperature of over 330 degrees below zero. It has a very small rocky core and a huge atmosphere consisting of hydrogen, helium, and methane. There are also ammonia, water, and methane gases in the atmosphere. The most unusual feature of Uranus is its rotational tilt. It appears to be rotating at its side with respect to the plane of its orbit. This orientation was probably caused by a large impact early in its creation, knocking its axis over so that it is parallel to the plane of its orbit. This orientation means that the seasons on Uranus are quite long, with each one lasting nearly 21 years. Uranus also has a ring system. The ring particles do not reflect much light, and so the rings went unnoticed until 1977, when they were discovered as a star passed behind them and the rings blocked the starlight.
Likely why Holst subtitles this The Magician. But Holst is really the magician in this piece. because he takes one four-note theme and alters it so that you hear it over 100 times in this piece. But it's so cleverly disguised that you might not recognize it. So let's hear just the four-note theme. The first statement of the theme. So you'll hear that right at the top, but immediately after you hear that, you'll hear the tenor tuba and the tuba play it twice as fast, and then you'll hear the timpani play it 4 times as fast, right from the get-go. So you can start listening for it already. But throughout the piece, it's transformed into so many different ways. At one point, he writes it 12 times in a row in a flurry of woodwind writing that lasts 2.5 seconds. So you can imagine how super fast it goes by. So listen for that theme, and then at the end, near the end, just as a magician might make himself disappear, the music just collapses, and it's like the piece is over. But then you hear that theme, dee-dong, 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 in the bassoons. And so we know the magician, not visible to us, but is somewhere in the room. So here is Uranus, the magician.
Calculated where the planet should be. He set his predictions to Johann Gottfried Galle of the Berlin Observatory. On Galle's first night searching for Neptune, he discovered it less than 1 degree from Verrier's predicted location. Neptune orbits at 30 times the distance from the Sun as Earth. It takes about 165 years to orbit the Sun at this distance. Neptune is similar to Uranus in size and composition. It also has a small rocky core and a huge atmosphere of hydrogen, helium, and methane, as well as ammonia, water, and methane ices.
Neptune was the god of the sea, probably because of its deep blue color. Holst subtitles this the mystic, probably because astrologers associate Neptune with deception and illusion and confusion. And so it makes sense then that Holst would use the compositional technique of bitonality. So you will hear many chords that don't quite sound consonant, but then they resolve. For example, an E minor chord right with a G sharp major chord, but then he resolves it. Let me give you an example of that. So the trumpets play an E minor chord, and the trombones play a G sharp major chord. And then when you put them together, there's dissonance, but then within a couple beats he resolves it. So you'll hear that throughout this movement. You won't hear any long melodies in this piece either. Who knows if there are melodies out by Neptune anywhere? I don't know. I'd like to think that there's music everywhere in the universe, because it certainly has been a part of the Earth for forever. It's in the Earth, of course. At the end of this piece, Holst uses a really ingenious technique to suggest that the universe does go on and on and on. the search for planets goes on. And he uses a very interesting and ingenious technique, which I'm not going to tell you about. You'll discover it for yourselves. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you've enjoyed our planetary tour. Here is Neptune.
And here we are, everybody, on the second floor on the balcony. This is where the choir was performing, right there for Neptune at the end. So you can see pretty expansive area here. Also, just in case anyone was wondering, this is the fragrance-free section. So, well, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad. But anyway, here you go. They're taken down right now. Very cool performance. Very interesting dichotomy of both the astronomical and the astrological. But yeah, here you go. Alright guys, I want to get a closer view of this organ because it's intense. So I'm pretty sure this is what where you can come and sit and play it right here, which is really, really cool. If you walk up here, look at this. This is so neat. can see all the pipes. They even have some that are sticking out of the wall there. Very fascinating. Pretty aggressive looking, if you ask me. But still really, really cool. And now you can see the sanctuary from a different point of view. That sure is pretty. Came to this place called Roma for dinner, and I gotta say, well, if anybody knows me, this is my kind of place for the Legion. And as if Jupiter knew we were going to be talking about today, it decided to show up pretty close to the moon. That is so cool. Look at that, guys. Oh, man. Fascinating. Well, everyone, that's going to do it for me today. After seeing that magical performance, I'm going to think about my place in the universe. It's kind of cool, you know, I really loved it because it mixed both the astronomical with the astrological, kind of the science behind it, and then some kind of the myth behind it as well. It's really, really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If I had to give it a critical review of my own, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Come on, I mean, Mars alone is so, so good. I love it so much. Man, I could listen to it again and again and again and again. But Jupiter, jolly, love it, so good. My goodness, the conductor, just the entirety of the orchestra, fantastic. I loved it so much. So looking forward to doing more stuff like this. And if guys, you want to see more stuff like this in the future, just let me know in the comments below, or just give it a thumbs up. Just let me know that you like this type of thing, because I enjoyed going to it. It's a lot of fun for me. So thank you guys so much. Just remember to adapt and overcome. And actually, I think I'm going to let the orchestra play me out. Let's hear Mars one more time.